don't know why. Because she's not in the lab. And then, and then I maybe if you had a heart attack or because you had one said again. Right. She works the and they had to come to the phone. But that was what June 1975. I know that
it's actually how we got
Dakota, are we live? Okay, I don't know. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Whoops. All excited for 7:30. Thank you all for coming, and I'm glad we're back in the bigger room because we've got a lot more people here tonight, but we're gonna go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Just as a reminder, I just want to go through a couple of the rules, how we operate this meeting, and then just talk about what the sections we're going to be doing. So first, we've got the meeting, which we have quorum, and then we also adjourn the meeting, and then after that, we have an open forum. So if you haven't done it already, you want to ask a question, if you can go back, there's a sign-up sheet, and you can write your name, and then once we adjourn the meeting, we'll have the open forum, and then you'll have 2 minutes to speak, and this is really per the rules. And during the meeting, we do follow Robert's rules of order, so just want to remind everyone that how it's going to flow, and then after we conclude the open forum, we're going to have meet the candidates. So we're going to have each of the candidates running for the board. We're going to do it in alphabetical order, and they're going to have 2 minutes to talk about themselves, so you get a chance to meet them. So that's how it's going to flow today. So with that, can we call the meeting to order? You can establish. Yeah, you can establish one.
Maureen Walsh.
Here.
Tiffany Becker.
Here.
Charles Swain.
Here.
I'm here. Don Harmon.
Here.
Bill Hines.
Here.
Arnold Joseph.
Here.
Chris May.
Here.
Ms. Brooks online. Do we know? I'll check on that later.
Okay, we've got a quorum. Next up is a secretary's report, and this is the minutes from the last open meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'd make a motion, Madam Chairman, to approve the June open meetings.
Do we have a second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Next up is the treasurer's report.
Good evening. This is the treasury report as of ending June 2024. So year to date, we still have a very favorable a year-to-date revenue of 1.9%, or on our revenues in total, it's $80,000 favorable revenue variance. That is primarily, as you remember last month, we collected a lot of the revenue prior month. So we're a little down this month, but our year-to-date revenues are in good shape. Cost of sales are about on target for what our budgets are, so there's really not much of a variance there. Our payroll, as again mentioned last month, was that we had an extra month of payroll, a period of payroll in May. That should carry through the whole year, so we'll probably have a positive variance all year. It may dwindle here and there. For the current period, we are a little bit, the positive variances are mainly in golf and in maintenance due to some shortage in payroll. And year to date, we're under budget by 31% in payroll, so we're still running positive there. And the operating expenses, we're also running positive year to date by 15.2% for $129,000. And those are primarily due to timing of getting some things done. By example, the administrative variance this month of $15,000 is due to our contract and paying for our audit, which doesn't happen until probably later this month. So there's some timing issues there. Overall, in the capital, we have the budget is $1.2 million in capital spending, and we only spent $117,000 year to date. Primarily, the biggest portion of that is the roads that we'll be talking about shortly. And the cash position overall is $5.4 million less our escrows and prepaids, and so we're in a really strong position cash wise to finish the year out as we budgeted and for our capital reserves that we need.
All right, thank you. Next up is President's Report, and I really just want to also thank everyone for all of the hard work and efforts they did for the July 4th weekend. Just a lot of volunteer time, like committee time, spa, everybody, the POA, the board. I thought it was just a real success for the families, and just want to recognize everyone's hard efforts. One thing I want to talk about is probably for the last, this is going on year 2, the board has tried to have more open meetings, which we've done. We've attached it to the board meeting. So we try to do it an hour before. We've had different topics. So back in, I think it was March, we had Sam and the fire department come in and do a presentation. We'd like to have another open forum meeting before next board meeting, which is going to be August 19th at 6 o'clock. And we'd like to have SPA come in and talk about their roles and their responsibilities. We'd also like to have the county come in and talk about their roles and responsibilities, and then how we all work together between the POA, SPA, and the county. So everybody's clear on who's in what lane, who to call when there's an emergency, and just get a chance to ask any questions, how we all work together. So that's going to be the topic for the next open meetings. I just wanted to share that. Okay, so with that, if we can move on to the operations report.
Okay, so my report is going to be on the 2 policies that are in the back that we have for distribution back there. Collections are the dreaded C word. Prompt payment of assessments by all owners is critical to the financial health of the association and the enhancement of the property values and homes and lots within our community. The board of directors takes this fiduciary duty and responsibility to enforce the member's obligation to pay assessments and any other fee due to the association very seriously. Collections are a vital part of any POA or HOA operations. This is an area that our association has not been as strong in the last couple of years due to staffing. However, we're strengthening our policies with the addition of a collection company. With our new policies, accounts that become more than 60 days delinquent to any payment to the association, whether it be assessment, fines, citations, fees, will be turned over to the contracted collection company, which is called Axela. As with most collection agencies, once the account is turned over, all communications must go directly through them until the balance is paid. Axela is different than most agencies in the fact that the association will get all the money that we are owed. They charge their fees directly to the delinquent property owner. We're not selling the debt and they're not taking a percentage, nor is the association being charged for the use of their services. We feel like they will be a great addition to all of our collection efforts. In addition to strengthening collection efforts for assessments, we'll also be stepping up collection efforts for property fines, citations, and rule violations. Since fines and citations are handled differently in the association's governing documents, we do have a separate collection and escalation policy for these charges. The main change in this policy is that we've added a clear time frame for property violations. Active property violation notices that are not responded to within 60 days of the fine and suspension notice, which is the final notice in our process, will be turned over to legal counsel for legal resolution of the violation. Fining will continue through the legal process. Any violation that is resolved, the fines remain on the account, will follow the collection policy and will be turned over to the collection company after 60 days. So both policies are available in the back, and both policies will be available on our website for download in the coming days. And these, the citation escalation policy and collection policy, both of those were already in place. We just pretty much, the main change is we put the time frame on the property violations to get these moving a little bit faster. And we added the collection company to those. So that's all I have.
Okay. Next up is old business, and this is where the board approved fire engine, so we're going to ratify it, but I've asked Sam, our fire chief, to come and give a little bit of background about it.
Thank you, Lauren. Hey, my name is Sam Hyde. I'm the fire chief, as you said, here in Fairfield Plantation. And I just want to say a few things about the fire engine. We've been looking real hard on options and what made sense for this fire department and this community. And as far as the fire engine, one of our two engines, our 1992 Sudfin pumper, is very old and it's in need of a lot of repairs. And sometimes it's difficult for us to even keep it in service. And so we went out shopping and we've been looking, trying to find out what made the most sense for this community. And what we found was that industry is, ever since COVID, has been hit with a lot of supply chain issues and pricing. And so fire apparatus are an expensive investment. And it's something that we had to really look at closely and what made sense. So in the course of learning more and more about that industry, the typical fire engine right now is about 2 years delivery when you order it, and some are even going out to 4 years. And so we were fortunate to find a distributor here in Atlanta that has sort of sought to get ahead of some of those challenges. And this distributor has been ordering fire engines, stock engines, so that there is sort of a supply chain pipeline, if you will. And so they would have those to counteract some of the challenges of getting a fire engine. And so not only is it hard to get them, but the prices increase about 20 to 30% every year, which can be pretty significant over time. And we found a distributor who offered us a fire engine for about $450,000 that was already on the assembly line, already being built. That engine could be delivered to us in February, so we were able to get around some of the supply chain issues and the long deliveries. And it really fit what we need here in Fairfield. It was a fitting truck for our type of roads, for our type of calls. It's big enough that we can carry plenty of equipment that we need on an emergency. And if we went ahead and got our name on that engine, it would be significant cost savings, because that engine, to order it again, would be over $600,000. And so we asked our board for permission to order that engine, and we're looking at a 15-year lease, but it's really a 30-year investment for a department like ours. A fire engine like that would last us easily 30 years. And so it's a lease purchase. After the 15-year lease, it belongs to Fairfield Plantation. So that's a little bit of background on the fire engine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As a reminder, we budgeted
Yeah, and
$550.
yeah, we've also been budgeting it, and it's in our strategic plan, so it's.
Yeah, we had it figured out. We thought it would be about 550,000 starting this year for whatever the term it was going to be. So that was a good job on you guys, y'all's parts.
Yeah. So with that, do I have a motion to ratify and approve?
Yes, I have a motion to, I approve.
Okay.
Motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Next up is new business, and there's 3 things we're gonna be voting on, and these are the 3 things that Allison just talked about. First was the collection company contract.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract with Alexa. So Ella, sorry.
I know it does.
Tongue twister.
Do we have a second?
And I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. The next up is the collection policy and update that Allison mentioned.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the updated collection policy.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next up is the rule violation and property fine escalation policy. Is also in the back.
And I also would like to make a motion to approve the rule violation and property fine escalation policy.
And I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, right, this month we don't have any lot management sales to report, so with that, we've got committee reports. So what we're gonna do is I've just asked the board to kind of go down the line so we can go a little bit more in order and just report on the committees that they're over. So with that, we're gonna kick it off with Bill.
Thank you. Just as an update, after serving as chairman of our Community Patrol Committee for over 10 years, Paul Stanford has resigned effective July 2nd. Paul brought his many years of law enforcement experience with a wealth of information and his expert knowledge of Fairfield's rules and regulations to make Fairfield a safer and better place to call home. Thank you, Paul, for your devotion to this term on committee, and thank you, Cheryl, your bride, for letting us have you to attend our 9 o'clock meetings for all those years. Angie Lester has now stepped up to carry on Paul's great leadership of that particular committee. The past 90 days, the past quarter, speeding violations for the same quarter reflective for the quarter of 2023 reflect an increase of 9.8%, and stop sign violations as well have increased by over 10%. SPA will now be monitoring extra special those areas of concerns, in particular looking for many reported crosswalk violations as well. Parking violations are up considerably also, and both the committee and others are looking into our association rules and our fines and perhaps updating our rules and regulations. There'll be more to follow up on that. SPA continues training for Lake Patrol. Numerous violations have been observed from committee members and others occurring on the lake, including insufficient safety lights, speeding, excessive speeding, speeding at dusk, and numerous others. Please take time to read the rules before going out onto the lake. Thank you.
Good evening, Arnold Joseph. In committees that I have, one I would first want to talk to is on the Greens Committee. And our chairperson, I believe he's actually in the audience tonight with us, is Jay Creek. One of the things I want to have a couple highlights, but in regard to just golf maintenance, I know the major project that has been on the irrigation system, and that has been completed. And, you know, I'm gonna highlight a couple things on the tournaments, but I'm hearing, we're hearing very good feedback on the golf conditions from both members and visitors, both here that have played here and also in the past. And there's just kudos to Jason and his team. Is, you know, there's still areas that we have to still improve on, but overall, they're just doing a great job in regard to just the total maintenance and the condition of the golf course. In regard to just key activities in June, July, there were about 5 tournaments. The West GA Seniors, the Fire Department, the GSGA Summer Tour, 50th Anniversary Celebration, and the Red, White, and Blue Scramble. What I want to highlight a couple, just 3 of them. The Fire Department tournament, great success, great turnout. We had over 120 golfers, and they hit their fundraising goal. We thank all the volunteers for the fire coming out to support the fire department. We had sponsors, we had a hole-in-one type. I mean, we, for a group that didn't know really how to really do a donation and sponsor, and I'll talk a little bit on their side, but really it was a great engagement for the whole community. And we already have next year scheduled for May 17th. The Georgia State Association Summer Tour, that's where we had 53 juniors here around the state with 9-hole and 18-hole divisions across different age groups for both boys and girls. And then we had the 50th anniversary tournament, which was our tournament here for the 50 years here. I will tell you that they raised about 6,000 in funds raised which will help to replace the pro shop counter. And a lot of the fundraising came from some of the momentum from the week before from the fire department. They also had live music and members. We had an actual golf member who did the plaques. So we're really seeing a lot of community involvement there. Also, special recognition, and I just learned this the other day, designing appreciation ad in Times Jordan for Villa Rica. We were voted as one of the best golf courses and best driving range in Villa Rica. We also had a junior camp in summer in June 17th, a month ago. And actually my granddaughter participated and was a great, we had 9 juniors that participated and actually today started another section. So, you know, we're really seeing some real participation and we're looking to get the juniors more involved in the golf course. Some upcoming events are the Labor Day Scramble, the member guest tournament, and club membership that's coming up. One of the other things I do want to say is Julian is really starting to do some training with his golf pros, Zach and Desiree. Desiree is our newest member and really getting some real positive results from her, and she did a great job with the juniors. And they're also working on their professional status and have started their level 1 PGA program. Also, everyone's been asking about membership. Membership is up 28% from last year. I will do my other committee, which is the fire committee. I think you kind of heard a little bit of some of what's going on. The one piece I will talk about in regard to just the fire golf committee is that on June 15th was a big success. They raised over 18,500 in money raised, and that was used for the SBA quick change air bottles for the breathing apparatus, which will be delivered in August. And I know those that might have made the meeting a couple months ago, you saw Destin, you know, in showing how that equipment is used. That is an example of how, you know, we do take donations also from our budget. And those are the type of programs that we like to see. And that was an engagement through using the community. July 6th fireworks show was success. Even though we had rain earlier, the fire department also had a fire retirement ceremony at the flag retirement ceremony at Station 11. On June 27th, the fire department had a personal part in a live fire training exercise in Carroll County Public Safety Training Center. And we just heard about having the new engine. The other event that probably people do not know is we are remodeling Station 11 by the fire personnel, which has been underway since June 1st and is set to be completed by the end of July. So as you can see, there's a lot of activity in regard to the fire department and the activity, and I know that the fire department really appreciates all the support from the community.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna provide an update for the Lakes and Dams Committee, and it's really gonna go very much hand in hand with what Bill Hines started. We hope everyone's enjoying the lake this season. In order to keep everyone safe on the lakes, it is critical that our boat drivers adhere to all lake rules and regulations. Please review the rules and regulations found at the Fairfield website. They've also been repeated, at least the key rules with a link, in almost every community update that's been sent out by email. Some of the most important rules that we want to reinforce tonight, given the observations we're making around the lake, is the first is distance. So motorized watercraft and their occupants, so that means if you're towing someone, the people behind your boat, must remain 75 feet from shore, and other craft operating above 5 miles per hour. Conversely, human-powered watercraft must be operated within 50 feet of shoreline. So what does that mean? That means motorized boats shouldn't be closer than 75 feet if they're going more than idle, but it also means that human-powered craft shouldn't be out in the middle of the lake. We are to operate those within 50 feet of the shoreline. The other observation has been around nighttime operations. Nighttime, it is just critically important that we all follow the rules. The last thing we want is to have wrecks or people get hurt as a result of improper operations. Idle speed only, we've defined that as 5 miles per hour or less. And proper Coast Guard approved navigational light. So what does that mean? That's the 360-degree white light, the aft light that goes in the back of your boat. That's the green and the red sector lights that go forward. That is not your docking lights. Docking lights are only to be used when you dock your boat. They look like headlights, so maybe that's why people mistake them for headlights, but it is incredibly dangerous for people to travel around the lake with those on. You can blind other boaters and it can cause accidents. So we just ask that you enjoy our lakes, but enjoy them safely by following the rules. So thank you.
I have two committees, one being rec and the other being community relations, both very fun committees for me. First off, the rec committee was planning to do an open house here for the rec center, and then we had the plumbing issue, so that has delayed it. And I believe the corrections are being taken place, although the painting of the floors or the concrete, sorry, we're probably going to wait to do that just so we don't delay, you know, the use of the rec center. So it's going to look kind of crummy for a couple months until we can, meaning unpainted raw concrete, until probably after we close in September. And then that way we won't have to close it down because you won't be able to walk on the floors and stuff like that. So we're probably going to delay that portion of the renovations until after we close in September. And the pool area, I should say. So then what we'll do is we'll have some kind of open house, be it delayed sometime this fall, and we're hoping to maybe we can put it around some kind of you know, family friendly potlucks type of situation. We're figuring it out. So I want you to be on the lookout for that. Also, I've seen some posts about people inquiring about wanting to do more activities like moves at the beach and stuff like that. And the rec center would love to, the rec committee would love to do more of those events. And it would be helpful if we had a few more volunteers assist with those things. I mean, it's really hard. There's only one person, you know, setting those things up. So if you'd like to have those things, it would be nice if, you know, one or two families could, you know, take turns, you know, volunteering to help with those committees. But we're going to do the best we can with the volunteers we have and try and get more family-friendly activities for the rec center. Community relations, it was a great 4th of July weekend. It was very, very busy, starting with Next to Kin on Friday night, and they are always a huge success and always a lot of fun. So I was happy to see a very large crowd there. And it started actually early. The crowd was there. I didn't get there until 7. The band starts at 8, and people were there well in advance, setting up their seats and enjoying the food trucks that we had, and they were a big success as well. So we hope to have more of those in the future. I'd like to acknowledge everyone that assisted and participated in all the events of that weekend. It was the largest parade that we've had in many, many years, since I've been here anyway. I'd like to thank everybody on the committee, which consists not only of the volunteers that we have for that committee, but also SPA was a large participant, our fire department as well, the golf course. They had golf outings and they give us golf carts and stuff like that. They're always very, very helpful in setting up and helping us set up for the parade. So I'd like to thank everyone there that participated in the parade. It was just really a great weekend. And that's really all I have for my committees.
Yes, it was a wonderful weekend. I have 3 committees, the lot management. Just remember that this committee is charged with overseeing the properties that are owned by the association and the marketing and the sale of that, making recommendations to the board. We have members, I'm just going to go ahead and call them out because I'd like to thank them: John Congleton, Sherry Palermo, Chad Thomason, Dory Seagraves, Floyd Weaver, Karen Hatley, Armin Lansing, and I'm on that committee, and also Allison does a lot of work with this committee. So I wanted to say thank you for all their work. There's not a lot that goes on in this committee, but there's a lot of thinking and forward thinking about how we sell and what we green space. And so one of the biggest things is that we, if you remember, about 2 or 3 months ago, we approved the green space of 3087 Briarfield Court. And this is the property that is adjacent to the county land that they're about to open off of Moss Ferry, which is a 4-mile walking trail. So we're gathering bids. That committee is gathering bids and design to present to the board on the cost to put a small parking lot there. We haven't decided whether it's going to be gravel or asphalt, what it would look like. They would have a little fence there so we can park and go right into the county. We've already got approval from the county that we can access it that way. So I think it'd be a wonderful free amenity for our community to have a 4-mile walking trail. So that's one of the areas that lot management's working on. The next area is property compliance committee. This committee is made up of Sherry Russell, Sherry Palermo, Floyd Weaver, Bill Knight, Jackie Congleton, myself, and it was Jim Hannon moved to North Carolina. So those who knew Jim Hannon know Jim Hannon. He moved last month, and we voted in Reggie Coachman as a new member of that. This is a board approved committee. And so there's 7 individuals that are on this committee, and we meet every 2 weeks for 3 hours at each meeting. So it's a lot of work in this committee. I also want to thank Dakota and Lonnie who join us in those meetings and keep us in order. But we are working on updating our rules and regulations an hour every week, and we review all the plans for construction and changes throughout the neighborhood each time as well. So there's really nothing new in that committee coming out of there. Unless Sherry, you want to add anything? The next one is facilities management committee. This is a new committee that came out of the board agreed to make it kind of a subcommittee under the roads and maintenance after we did our 2023 reserve study. This committee is made up of Reggie Coachman, Floyd Weaver, Chris May, Arnold Joseph, myself, and then our maintenance supervisor, Dean Williams. And so we are meeting every month now to make sure that we are reviewing all the large expenditures that are in our budgets, as well as any other needs throughout the neighborhood, and maybe looking at inspection programs of our common areas. So we're trying to think forward on in the future some expenses, or where we can take money and maybe we don't need to need them this year, and we can reallocate them or save and push them out for another year. So I think it's a very exciting committee that'll be very helpful for the management staff. So that's it.
Well, good evening. My name is Chris May, and I'm the liaison for the Roads Committee. Before I start, Jim, would you please stand? This is Jim Stevenson. No, just stand right there. I want everybody to get a good look at you. Jim is, I really don't have the words to describe how Jim, he is a workaholic. The roads in Fairfield never end. And, they continuously, it's like the wheels on a bus, they just continuously go round and around and around when it comes to maintenance. But Jim oversees he is the chair of the roads, committee, and he oversees our roads and he makes sure that when something happens to our roads, whether it be potholes, along with Dean, who is, over maintenance, they try to get as fast as they can to get the potholes fixed. But on top of that, he also puts together what roads will be paved and which roads will have to be milled. And this year, and I don't want to leave your wife out, I appreciate you very much, letting us have him. Without you, I don't know where he would be. So, but thank you both. But anyway, the Lakeview Parkway, from what I understand, and Jim, you have, correct me if I'm wrong, but, because has been some changes. But, Lakeview Parkway is going to start around the marina, and it's going to be on the east side, all the way up to Holly Court. And, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're going to mill that, aren't they?
Chris, we'll start at the intersection of Monticello and the intersection of
All Pine, yeah.
and Lakeview.
Yeah.
Starting there, go south.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there will be some areas that have skipped over.
Right, because they've been paid
But
before.
then there'll be, but that milling place is gonna take place all the way down to Holly Court.
Okay, and I just want to make,
This side.
thank you very much. Just want to make that clear so that come time when they start doing this, we'll have, traffic control situations going on. So be mindful, especially if you're having to go to work out the east gate, but most of the work is going to be done on that part. The other roads, yeah, go ahead.
Let's say one other thing,
Sure. Mhm.
if we ever have another drought, it's been a paving project, so the rain.
Mhm. Yeah,
Look
yeah.
at long range forecast starting about Wednesday on, with his rain chances up to 60, 70, 80, 90%.
Yeah,
Until almost the end of the month.
great.
And the paving contractor, once he orders asphalt, this is.
Yeah.
He has paper, whether he can use it or not. So the days that were, why aren't we paving the days? Because of the chance of rain he's seeing in the forecast. And it's really a real iffy situation. So they wait until really it gets down to maybe only 20-30% of scattered afternoon showers, then you'll start back. So there's gonna be a gap in paving this year, just due to the weather.
Okay, thank you for that.
Can you kind of repeat what you said so that people?
Yeah, what, Jim said was that because of possibility of rain coming in, which we are not going to complain about the rain, but, this is very much needed. But because if rain starts coming in later on this week, that always push back our paving. So, just be mindful that, it's going to be a long process. If that takes place, it's going to be moved back. Again, safety is our factor in that, when we have, these roads being paved, please, go 30 miles an hour and be mindful that, SPA will be out or there'll be people out who will be directing traffic as well. They have already started Argonne Drive, and I think all that got paved and, today. And he's gonna do Argonne Place, Argonne Court, and then later on, as things move along, there'll be Briarwood Court, Lakeside Drive from 2507 to 2539, which is the addresses, North Carroll Court, Ridgecrest Court, Butler Court, Cumberland Court, and Cedar Court. They're going to use a seal code on that. So, just be mindful that there will be a lot of, construction going on with this. And, again, I appreciate, you, Jim and Judy, and, appreciate everybody's patience on this. But I hope that, everything goes just as smooth as, we hope it to. Okay? Thank you. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you. I appreciate that. There is plans to pave the parking lot out here at the rec center, even that mud park, down below. It's gonna give us, I think, 3 extra parking spaces as well. But they can't do anything as long as they got the restrooms out here, so we're gonna have to wait for that to go by. So, so that's something else that, we're gonna have, paved as well. Okay, anything else? Okay.
with that, do I have a, motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Both carries. Okay, next up will be the open forum, so Dakota's grabbing the sign-up sheet, and again, just a reminder, for our rules, there's a 2-minute, time limit, it's to make sure we can get through everything also. But, just another thing, if there's something that involves questions that need more follow-up, if you could leave your contact information, so management of the board can follow up with you, because a lot of times, if there's questions, we need to research it and get more information, so if you can leave us your contact information, we will follow up with you. Okay, so first up, we've got Jerry Farmer.
Thank you, Madam President. I heard you say that if it offers me, there will be a forum with spot. So that probably will answer a lot of questions that the community has,
Yes.
and even on here. But I would like to ask one question. What is the procedure for someone coming to the gates that wants to go to the marina restaurant? What is the procedure for this?
We just went over today.
Yeah, both restaurants and including the pro shop has to call in everybody that's visiting those facilities.
So the
Now-
restaurants would do the calling.
Yes, and the restaurant tenant is responsible for those guests. So if they get a citation, they don't go where they're supposed to go, the citation goes to the restaurant tenant. Anybody that books a tea time, the pro shop goes in and puts in those into the dwelling life system so that they have a pass when they come in the gate. Now, that has not always been the case. Years and years ago, people could show up and say, I'm gonna go eat at one of the restaurants. Well, that changed back in 2017. So SPA's been doing a really good job enforcing that. We've had some issues, some hiccups here and there, but overall, they've done a great job enforcing that. But yes, the restaurant tenant is supposed to have reservations for anybody that's coming in, and they have to put in their guests.
So when the customer comes to the gate, does they get some kind of pass paper?
Yes, just like any other guest.
In this station, they must be going to that,
Yes.
that restaurant, can't be anywhere else in the property.
Correct.
Right, okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Next up is Pat Gardner. You can give the microphone, I think. I've got Pat and then I've got Sparky.
Sorry. Yeah,
Uh,
is it turned up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna try to get this in 2 minutes, but we've been here 20 years and we gave 300,000 for our house and I work on it all the time. With I've probably received somewhere around 40 or 50 citations for different things, but that $300,000 house, a resident that lives in here offered me $1,100,000 for the house. So I don't think I'm gonna hurt anybody's property value. Now I just received this letter from a guy that's got a vendetta against me. I came in the POA office in South Dakota about getting a new card for the gate, and this guy walks up and he says, "Can I help you?" And I said, "No, you can't." Well, that bothered him, and he says, "You hear about the letter citation?" I said, "What citation?" He said, "The one for your building on your dock." I said, "That dock was been there 20 years, it's rotten. My guy from the church walked over and stepped through it." I said, "I didn't know I had to have a permit to replace a rotten dock." He hollers to Dakota, he says, how big of a place?" I forgot what he said. 2 foot by 2 foot or something. You don't have to have a permit. Well, where is that at? How are we supposed to know that? Everybody I talked to said, yeah, if you got something rotten out there, you can replace it. That would help the community here. And when he said that, I said, what are you doing? He says, "I'm the appliance officer." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "You're in charge then, huh?" I said, "I bet you're really happy. That really makes you feel good, don't it?" I said, "You're in charge." And then when I walked down, I said, "Well, you have fun." Well, I know I pissed him off. I know I did. But he needs to put on his big boy pants because he has now just trying his best to pick my house to death. He's telling me now that I can't extend my dock out 8 more feet to the allowed 20 feet, which I only have 12 now because it would be encroaching on the sewer line, which has been there for 20 years.
Yes.
Now, that same line runs over next door.
So,
So thank you for that. We're gonna pause
so
that.
with that, yeah, I mean, any changes to the dock shape needs to be approved. You need to have a new permit to extend it. So as long as you follow.
Well, I'm sorry, you misunderstood me. What I did was just the part that was rotten,
Okay,
I just redid it and put a floor instead of a jet rail.
okay, I thought you were saying you were.
That's a change.
Yeah, well,
You,
at the
that's a
same
change.
time, I'm trying to get this into 2 minutes or 4
Yeah.
minutes. But at the
So-
same,
So here's the thing, we do have a process, so the compliance officer issues a letter. So there's certain timeframes to respond, but then you also have additional rights, so you have the right to appeal to the property control committee. Then you, if you're not satisfied with responding to the property control committee, you have the right to go in front of the board, so there's a process that needs to be followed.
all these budget water
So
company,
this
he
isn't the
came out and
process.
surveyed my property. After he surveyed the property,
Well,
So-
we take this is a very personal one-on-one matter.
So,
Do you mind just waiting and sitting down? Because this is not really the place to have.
yeah,
To
there's a
go
whole
through your
appeal
individual
process.
type of issues.
There's a
So there's
whole
a
process.
person, and I'll be glad to personally sit down with you. I'm Charles, I'm on the board. I'm also on the property control committee. I'd be glad to show you all where the rules are and go through the specifics. So if you would like to do this tomorrow, we can make an appointment to do that.
that would be great.
Okay, so
So I would-
Charles, I'll see you right after this
The
meeting.
main thing I was wanting is for somebody to tell this guy.
I'd be glad to do it. We can meet at the
Yeah.
office. We can go. through
There's a
go through
whole
those problems.
process
Yeah.
that Charles is
Well,
actually.
Thank you.
Okay.
Go. You ready to go?
No.
Huh?
Next up, we've got Tony. So I got the phone back here. And it's about landscape.
Sure. Good evening, then. Thank you for allowing me a few minutes. We're new here to the property in here. And wants to know, where can I find information on the type of, vegetation and trees and things I can plant within my property and down below? We have a problem there and where they're building a home across from us at Lakeview. And the contractors have parked in front of my house. Okay, they've destroyed all the grass and everything down at the bottom of my home. We've called SPA out there 5 times. They run them off, but now it's complete dirt right there where the runoff is. Okay, so they've been fine, but who's gonna help me repair my yard? Do you guys help out? Is there a pot that I can come to and say, hey, you guys got the fine from them? But who's gonna help me repair my yard?
So when you have a property owner, this comes up, I think, as
I can't call Phil Rica or Carroll County because they won't come out here. They're saying that I have to deal
So
with any.
I think, and please, anybody can speak up. I mean, I think this comes up a lot more than just in your case. So we can tell somebody not to park in a certain area, we can find them to do those certain things. But when a property owner and a property owner have a dispute, whether it's trees, whether it's a fence, whether it's, well, I mean, there's 100 things we can name that someone run off of their property, that is a property owner to property owner. That is not anything that we would ever get involved with, and Lonnie, you can speak up to this as well.
Well, why did you find them?
Because if they're parking on an area that they're not supposed to be parking on, or they don't have the proper silt fencing and things like that, we can certainly find them. And those are in our rules, and you can go through and see
But I'm
those.
asking, if you're finding them, why not assist me with getting my property back together?
Because we're not gonna get into disputes between the two property owners, so.
But I mean, you find them, so you already got into this.
But that's not because they damaged your property, it's because of something they did. I don't know what the issue is, and so, and I don't wanna
But
get
I
into
see finding them if it was your property, the property of the board, and if they're parking on the board owned property.
again,
But
I
you
don't,
find them
on my behalf. parking
So
without
we
parking.
fine because it's a violation of the POA's rules. It's not related to your property. It's not related to your neighbor's property. It's a fine related to a violation of the POA rule.
Which rule is that?
I don't know what specific.
I can't quote the full
Yeah,
side number.
But what I'm asking you, this is, and I'm gonna leave it alone at this, okay? But what I'm asking is that if it's a POA rule for them to park on my property.
No, it's not a POA rule to park on your property. It's a POA
but that's what you
rule
just
that they,
said,
no, I did not.
Because they.
No,
because they
I did
violated the
not.
rule.
What I said was he was fined because he violated a POA rule. I never said that the POA rule was that he could park on your property.
No, that's what I'm asking, if it's a POA rule that he cannot park in that
It's,
area.
we have a
That's
whole
fine.
series of
He was fined.
parking rules.
He was fined for parking in my parking.
We don't
my
know.
grass.
We don't know. I
Exactly.
don't know your file personally, so I don't know what citations have been issued. I actually have no idea as we sit here, because again, like the last person,
So can I? reach
this is
out
a
to
very
you?
personal
Absolutely, yeah, we can go through it, the same thing, be glad to do it, I mean, I think anytime people have an understanding, but the property owner to property owner dispute is not something that we as a homeowner association, we're the same as you, we own here,
Right.
Hmm.
would ever get involved with, so.
Okay, and the last question that I have is there any type of rules or regulations on what type of trees I can plant down in a certain area of my property?
Yeah.
And the reason I'm asking that is because in order for me to bring.
without knowing more specifics about where you're talking about planting, I cannot answer that question. In order to have a landscaping plan approved, you would have to submit to the property control committee.
Okay, so the designer told me it's gonna cost $600 to come out and to give me a full design of what I want to have done. Okay, in front of my home, don't have a problem paying for it. But I wanted to know before I bring him out, what will you not approve before I get all this?
Yeah, I think I would just go back to, we have rules and regulations. You can find them out on the Fairfield website if you don't have copies of them. That explain the landscaping application process and what is required. And in our tree rules, if you could read them in the rules and regulations, there are no specific trees that we allow and don't allow. So that's why we're having a difficult time answering your question. But if you will refer to the rules and regulations, and if you will refer to the application process and submit it, then we can get you the answer.
Okay, if I could reach out to you, because I've already read all of that and it's so vague. And this is why I'm asking the question. Okay, and this is why I'm asking, if I just reach out to Mr. Swain.
Yeah, and we'll get with the office, but I'm gonna direct right through the rules in that process, so.
Okay,
But sure,
I appreciate you guys.
yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so with that, that's all the questions. We're gonna go ahead and move to meet the candidates. And again, we're gonna go in alphabetical order. And just a reminder, this session is for each of the candidates to talk for 2 minutes and introduce themselves. And then come the August meeting will be the Q&A. That's where we get to ask them some questions. So this is really more for them to just share some thoughts about themselves and a little background. So with that, we've got Bill Hines, and I don't know if you want to do it from there or.
This is fine here.
Do you have a thing?
Thank you, everybody. Bill Hines, I put my name in the hat to be running for another session on the board. And tell you a little bit about myself. Our Fairfield vision that we established several years ago is our home resort, to live, relax, and play. I'd like to add my own personal addition to that, and may I add, live safely and with peace of mind. And at every meeting and committee I attend, my goal is to protect and increase our home and property values. That's my #1 consideration for the entire time that I serve. I will continue to strive to thoroughly review, monitor, and ask questions for all items I am asked to consider at the Budget and Finance Committee that I also serve on, and at all board meetings. I want to continue to work with the very expert and knowledgeable people on the Budget and Finance Committee, as well as our fabulously fiscally responsible board members that all amaze me with their total financial expertise and understanding how to best get our priorities accomplished in a financially sound manner. I plan to continue to serve on both the Budget and Finance Committee and the Strategic Planning Committee as well. I spent many years in budgeting and finance, and I think my background information is well suited for what we need to do to accomplish our goals here at Fairfield. I will gladly serve on Fairfield committees as board liaison to be sure our rules and regulations are in effect and always be flexible to changes. I will continue to support the Fairfield Kiwanis and Fairfield Women's Club fundraising needs, as both my mom and dad love being part of both of those super organizations. And I pledge to support next year's Fairfield Firemen's Golf Outing with food or as needed. I would be greatly honored if you would again vote for me as a member of our board, and I promise to represent you in a fiscally responsible, honest manner. Thank you.
Sorry, do you want to pass it to Dawn?
Well, I'll stand up. I think y'all can hear me. Well, I usually talk pretty loud. My name is Don Harmon. Glad.
Hold on a second. I don't know why that's continuing to go.
Man, that was a quick tune. That's my wake up bill.
I don't know why that's continuing to ring. Yeah, I might have to.
Just turn it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like this, huh?
No, it's still not doing that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to turn my whole phone off. Hold on.
Okay, Don.
All right.
All right, I'm still Don Harmon. I bought my first lot out here back in 1974 so I could play golf. I built my house out here in 1980. So to say that I'm older than dirt is an understatement. You know, I had a great life living in Fairfield, and for all you new people, I hope you have the same. And, you know, basically, I have served on every position in the board over the years that I've lived out here. And my desire is to keep Fairfield a safe, fun, and enjoyable place, as well as beautiful. We have a very beautiful place out here for as long as we can. Thank you, and I hope you'll vote for me.
Next up, we've got Chris May.
My name is Chris May, and Kim and I have lived out here going on 11 years. I grew up in Atlanta, or born in Atlanta, and lived in East Point part of the time, and other time grew up in College Park, and went to Lakeshore High School, grade school. Went to college for 1 year up in Wisconsin, played ball, but that was not the goal I wanted to go, so came back and got interested in the fire service. Got hired on with East Point for 2.5 years. When Fulton County opened up their fire department, I went there, and all total, I've served 31 years as a firefighter, been retired since '07. Of course, being a firefighter, we work part-time jobs. I started my own business in '92 out here with Prestige Properties. I took care of the timeshares on the grounds and outside maintenance. And after that, I sold my business after 10 years and moved to Paulding County, found an older house, remodeled it. And then after 2 years, I got bored and I talked with Prestige. They asked me if I'd come do their maintenance. So I started with their maintenance program and stayed with that until just about 2.5 years ago. My wife Kim runs the UPS store. That's why you recognize her and can't figure out, well, she's at the UPS store. And I work up there 2 days with her as well. We love Fairfield. I'm a big supporter of all of our amenities. I have the ambition to want to make sure that our amenities will stay strong and rebuilt just like we've done here. I've really enjoyed working with this board and our POA staff. They're great people. My goal as another board member is to keep the train moving and keep Fairfield growing. And I love meeting new people as well and helping people on that too. Thank you very much.
Oh, no.
Shut off.
Next up, we've got Grace Pippin.
Can I stand over here?
1,000%.
It's a little awkward being the only one that wasn't already sitting up here. My back to anybody.
Sit here, Grace.
I feel like I've been crunching. Hey, everybody, my name is Grace Pippin. I grew up out in this neighborhood. We moved in when I was 7. Even before that, my grandparents lived here on the lake. We moved in on Woodmont Court, and we lived on the golf course. Now we live on the lake. We've been here for a very long time. I'm raising my family here, so I've seen this neighborhood for, a while. I guess I should age myself. From a lot of perspectives, from a kid riding a bike and going swimming at the beach and playing in the pools, to now my kids are riding bikes and going to see their friends and doing that kind of stuff. And so for years, I've been getting back in Carrollton, whether it's Rotary clubs or nonprofit service or doing stuff with the Community Foundation of West Georgia. And I have a board service that's about to end on a nonprofit board in Carrollton. And I've been looking at getting more involved closer to home. So I'd love nothing more than to serve as a board member and represent all of my neighbors as a member of the board.
Thank you.
We'll take care of it. No problem.
Thank
Thank you.
All right, so with that, we concluded the meeting. Thank you all for coming and attending. And hopefully we'll see you next month when we have our open forum and the board. Thank you.